Hello, everyone. Today I thought I would talk about listening first and building second, and how active listening powers better systems. So, a lot of the times, as a business owner, you might think when it comes to building better systems, maybe you want to try to scale, or maybe you just want to be able to get out of your business a little bit more. It's really important to actually be able to listen first, and that means listening to your body, listening to yourself, listening to your mind, listening to your team members, of course, listening to your clients. It could even mean listening to your partner, the people in your life, your friends, all of that. It's all important to be able to actively listen to all these things before you actually build systems, because a lot of the times business owners, it's easy, or it seems straightforward to really just start delving into what people say building a system is like, or just really just work on the templates, sort of building better systems. But the first step should always be actively listening to yourself and others. So, well, I'm really just gonna talk about the three main things when it comes to actively listening. So that's listening to yourself, listening to your team members, and listening to your audience. So, what do I mean by listening to yourself? So, a lot of the times, you as a business owner, you are the foundation of your business, of course. If you get sick, the whole business is going to really pay attention to that. It's probably going to be affected by you being sick. If you have a bad day, the business is going to get affected by that. If you have more energy, the business is going to be affected by that. So it's really important, obviously, to really think about your business in the traditional sense and with logical thinking and all that. But do not lose sight that you are at the center, and therefore you have to listen to yourself. So that means listening to what you like, what you dislike, listening to what your strengths are, listening to what you realize you don't like as well. Really just understanding that you are your own person. You are unique in other than out of everyone else. You are unique. There's no one like you. And therefore, you really have to really pay attention and make sure that you are understanding how you run as a business owner before you really get into those systems. If you get into systems and you say to yourself, "Oh yes, I'm going to create this system, this operational system, these SOPs, this communication system, based on, what I've read and what I feel is best." Yes, that's amazing. But if you're not actively listening to yourself first, then that is really just honestly a lot of energy that you are wasting. And it's going to be a lot of growing pains unneeded, because you didn't really take into account and understand how you work as a business owner as well. So that's really what it comes to when it comes to actively listening to yourself. Obviously, when you are trying to build better systems, maybe you're trying to scale, or you are trying to really get a little bit less of yourself in the business. So it's really important to be able to understand what systems are going to work best for you, and therefore the business. So that's that on that. And then I also wanted to talk about actively listening to your team members, or just anybody who's working in your business, honestly, in any capacity. Maybe if you don't really have like a team, but you have somebody that does, I don't know, the graphics for you, or maybe helps with your invoices, your financial systems. Usually, even if you don't have a team, there's somebody out there who's helping you in the business, even in the smallest capacity, and they can really help you understand what systems to be able to create as well. So obviously, with that, it's kind of similar to listening to yourself. You have to understand, honestly. Obviously, it's really important to obviously just straight up ask them, and they're gonna tell you what they really like when it comes to running the business on their own, and what tasks they're doing on their own. But then also listening to what they're not saying, listening to their activity, what you feel is their schedule or their energy as well, just really seeing what kind of energy you're really feeling for certain tasks that they do. And that's really going to help you inform the systems that you create when you're trying to scale your business or trying to really run it a different way. So that's one thing. And you can really just be able to straight up ask them. It's really great. So you can just ask them, you can run polls, and you can really just start thinking about what kind of systems you want to create that's really going to actually scale your business, and listen to the energy of your team. So that's another thing, really just listening, actively listening to your team, what is said and what is unsaid. The third thing, the last thing I wanted to talk about was listening to your audience. Obviously, so much of making a business grow bigger is understanding what the audience is. So that means their likes, their dislikes, the kind of problems that they have, what platforms they really prefer, what kind of messaging that they respond to. When it comes to building systems, that really matters as well. Because a lot of the times when you're building systems, let's say for the audience, that's really going to be marketing systems, right? They are going to be on a certain platform, or maybe they are in real life. How really thinking about what kind of actions they usually take when it comes to really converting them into people who are not only aware of you, but really actually enjoy your content and really understand you more and have that know, like, and trust factor, right? When you're trying to build marketing systems that are more free flowing, they're more automated, it's really important to first actively listen to your audience. Once again, with polls, you can just straight up ask them. And polls are amazing when it comes to audience because it's a lot of people, right? So you can really just be able to use these polls and ask the right question that makes sense for the kind of marketing systems that you believe you are trying to build, and really be able to scale these marketing systems effectively, knowing what your audience actually likes, what they like to put their energy into, the kind of problems that they want solved. So obviously, that can really start out from that top of funnel, which is the social media platforms, or maybe in real life. So then you are really just thinking about what gets them from that section to, let's say, that mid funnel marketing, right? So that's usually email marketing. And then finally getting them into that sort of bottom of funnel stage area, where they finally really hop on a discovery call or actually just become like a client of yours or a purchaser. So it's really important to be able to actively listening to them as well. Yes, you can really be able to just create a persona, an audience persona, target audience persona, and understanding from there. But then these are real people you're dealing with. So it's also really important to be able to update what you believe that you are, who you are marketing to, versus what is actually happening on the other end in real life. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. I could really honestly just go into depth for different areas of what I've talked about, especially like the kind of questions that you can ask when it comes to polls. But I just really wanted to stick to that, and that kind of the holistic really importance of running a business. And that means actually listening and making sure that you know that at the end of the day, there's people on the other end. There's a person in you, and there's a person with your team, there's people on your audience. And that means really understanding people, how people see logic, how people reason, how they understand, and what kind of emotions they really respond to. And so therefore your systems, when you build them, it's just going to be more energetically positive, and you're really going to be able to scale a lot more effortlessly, which is so important, right? You don't want to be able to create a system that you felt was more cookie cutter, more template, or people said that this is the way they built their business, and you do it for yours, and it turns out to be a big waste of time and energy and the opposite of what you wanted. Or even worse, sometimes when it comes to creating SOPs, sometimes you realize that you created this SOP, it's great, it's A plus, all that, and then people aren't even using it. They're not really using the standard for the operation they're supposed to do. So it's really important to be able to actively listening to what your team members really need, what you really need, what your audience needs, what the skills are for everybody, what they like and dislike. And that's really going to help you inform these systems. so that you can build them and really have that translate into actual scaling for your business and an actual way that you're running your business more in the way that you wanted it to run. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I actually have a lot more details down below. You can kind of see some of the links that I put down there, which have more information, my Instagram and all that. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.